Millie Sadie. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the one-on-one sessions with Gogo Musore live streams. Okay, so this is, you guys have been waiting for this live for a very long time. I apologize for not being able to come through yesterday. You know, the network and everything, it was a real mess. But today we will be talking about death, what happens when you die, like what really happens when you die. Because, you know, there are so many things that we are told as kids that when you die, you'll go to heaven or you'll go to hell. But those things don't really apply in African spirituality. Well, in spirituality in general, they don't really apply that much. And this is what we're going to be talking about, what really happens when you die. So before I get into African spirituality, I'm going to talk about scientific thingies, ne? What scientists say about it. Thokozani Sihle, thank you for joining us. So scientifically, I remember reading this documentary whereby people, please read our messages. Okay, cool. I'll definitely check the messages. I'm probably thinking it's on the comment sections. I haven't been that online on YouTube for this. Oh, YouTube, Instagram. Okay, no, I'll check my Instagram very soon. I'll definitely do that. So I've been reading a lot of documentaries whereby scientists were actually checking what happens with people when they die, whereas they took experiences from people who passed away, who didn't really pass away, who had a near-death experience, whereby those people, Sibusiso, Gogo, what happened when you die according to African spirituality? Yes, we're going to be looking at African spirituality and other aspects of spirituality and what we are taught and how it really is. So, like I said, a lot of tests were made based on what people who had death, like sort of like near-death experiences encountered, and in those things, you'd find people saying, "Well, they encountered their loved ones, they saw a bright light, and all those things." But the question is, in African spirituality, does that really apply? Okay, but we're gonna get to that. So when you are born, in the beginning of birth, what happens is there is a soul contract. A contract that is made before you are born, before you are conceived. And in that soul contract, what happens is that you sign a contract, your soul signs a contract saying, well, I'm going to come into this life. My journey is going to be like this. It might be hard because of this thing and hard because of that thing, which I'll get into when we talk about what really happens when you die. Then from that agreement, you are born. And one thing that you should know about babies is that children are born with the third eye open. They are born as spiritual beings. They are born connected with spirituality and everything. Mulalo. Thank you for joining us, Mulalo Tokozani. I'm also excited. So they are born with the ability to communicate with the spirits because they are still spiritual beings. Hence, you'd find out your child, when you have a child, your child is the one that will be able to experience supernatural things that are really like that most of us people will not really experience because we are not spiritual connected. And as they grow older, what happens is that that connection is broken, ne? Not really broken, but it's weakened a bit. And that is where Lord, your life begins, where Lord, you as a person are able to learn certain things. And if you choose a spiritual path, you are able to connect with your spiritual self, you're able to connect with your soul, you're able to connect with your spirits, your ancestors, and all those things. And then comes a point whereby the peak of your life, which is where, Lord, you are about to die. And in that stage, you know, a lot of people, when they pass away, when they're about to pass away, you would, I'll get to that as well, Sitle, as to what happens to bad people when they die. So a lot of people, when they pass away, what happens is when they're like very close to passing away, they will leave certain remarks, like they will. Okay, sorry about that. The network has not been friendly with me for this past couple of days, but it's okay. I think I fixed it. Okay. So as I was saying, when people are at the times whereby they are almost about to die, they'll talk about experiences whereby they'll say, well, they are seeing certain people, they're seeing maybe a grandmother or a grandfather, they are seeing people calling them and all those kind of things. And you'd wonder, what, how is this happening? That's because when you die, when you're about to die, such as the same as when you are born, you are at the end of your cycle, which is actually the almost at the beginning. And what happens is that you are reconnecting with your spiritual self. That is where a lot of those people you'd find them like having moments whereby they look at certain things that they did, set the life that they lived, and they're like, I should have done this instead. I missed out on this beautiful life because I was not doing what my soul was here for to begin with. Okay, Tando, thanks for joining us. Tokozako, I'm interested in how do one open his or her third chakra. Okay, I'll give you advice on how to do that. There's actually a video whereby I talk about opening your chakras, your levels. Meditation helps, praying helps, but there's a video that I will give you the link to it on this comment section, on the comment section of this one. So then a person dies, but what really happens when a person dies? Okay, when a person passes away, they go to the spiritual realm. And there are certain things that you need to understand about the spiritual realm. Firstly, souls have no gender. Souls are both male and female, if I put it like that. There is no gender. Hence, when a person reincarnates, they can get reincarnated as a man, whereas in the past life they were female and stuff like that. Secondly, when you are a soul, you are able to understand things a lot more better than you do right now in the physical realm. And that is just the reality of it. Souls are more wiser. And the third thing about the spiritual realm is there is no time in the spiritual realm. There is no time. What happens is that 6 months to you can be like 2 days to them. It could be less. Hence, that is why I always tell people do not rush the ancestors when it comes to them responding to certain things that you want. There is no time in the spiritual realm, and their time is always the best. So what happens when a person dies is that their spirit, their soul leaves the body, the physical body. Because truth be told, these bodies of ours, we're just renting them for a few minutes. Our souls are just renting them to leave certain things, to experience certain things in the physical realm, and then go forth into the spiritual realm and then look at everything that they've experienced in this lifetime and learn about it. So in the spiritual realm, when a person dies, two things can happen. It's either the person chooses to be an ancestor, whereby we have certain ancestors that come through giving us certain gifts, guiding us, guiding the lineage of their family. Or secondly, whereby a person decides, okay, I did not live up to the things that I wanted to live, or I still want to experience certain things. Because, like spiritual experience and physical experience are actually two different things. And what our souls are here for, they're here to experience certain things in this lifetime and then return back to where they came from, return back to home. And then the soul can be like, you know what, I haven't experienced many things enough. I want to come back into this world as something different. Maybe if in the previous lifetime you were a rich person, you can say, you know what, I want to come and experience life as a humble person who actually gets to work for everything that they get, regardless of how difficult it can be. So secondly, the soul chooses what it has to do when it dies. So there isn't really much of pain when a person passes away, when a person dies, but understand that your soul can choose what I'm going to be living for this particular time, for 50 years, and something happens in your life, like malicious things can happen whereby maybe like something, I don't know, you kill yourself, suicide, you commit suicide, and what happens is that you die before your time. And what is gonna happen there is, whereas the soul is not gonna be able to cross over into the spiritual realm, the soul will be lingering in the in the physical, between this physical and the spiritual realm, which is actually whereby we find a lot of souls being unable to cross over, people being bothered by this specific spirit, this specific person being like just haunting them and hurting them. The same applies. Tokozani Tabo, Tokozani Nhlanhla, Tokozani Nawabadimu. Thank you for joining us. As I said, this topic, Tokozani Mukhadi, as I said, I was talking about what happens when you die. So now I'm looking at the fact that when a person dies before their time, what really happens to their soul. So when a person dies before their time, their soul is unable to cross over. Hence, you find sometimes and this also applies to serial killers and other people who have done wrong things in their life. Because when you die having done a lot of bad things to people, It's either you are going to pass over to the spiritual realm, and when you pass over to the spiritual realm, you will have to atone for the bad things that you did, and you're going to need to come back as a victim to the things that you have done to other people. That's the first thing. Or secondly, you will not be able to cross over because the things that you have done in the physical realm will still haunt you. Hence, that is why you find out a lot of people who have done a lot of bad things, they are unable to cross over. Their spirit is still lingering. And the bad thing about that spirit is that it does not really see all the wrongs that it did. It still has that human mentality, human thinking going on in their life, in their spiritual, in their almost partly spiritual world, and they will still continue to do those things. So hence that is why it's very important for people to atone for their sins, né? But in reality, people, when they die, they only cross over into the spiritual realm. There is no pain that comes with it, but it is very important for people for you to visit those people in terms of actually admiring their memory, regardless of whether this person decided, you know what, I'm going to come back and get reincarnated as somebody else, or whether they decided I'm going to be an ancestor, because that job in the spiritual realm will be, okay, I'm looking at my generation. I'm looking at the people that were with me in my life and my children, my grandchildren. I want them to have a prosperous life. And that is where Molore, you find out certain ancestors decide to like be with certain people, give these people certain gifts, and then guide them in certain things that we do in life in African spirituality. Lisedi Mahotso, thanks for joining us. Sbusiso Gogo, do you think our soul can decide not to come back to this planet but go to a higher dimension? Do we only experience life only in this planet? In the spiritual realm, it's a matter of choice. There are instances whereby the soul does not choose. It's supposed to come back for certain reasons. Like I said, if you weren't able to fulfill your soul desire that made you want to come into this lifetime to begin with. Togozani Francesca, thanks for joining us. Your soul purpose to come, like you weren't able to fulfill your soul purpose when you actually came through into this realm, then you will be obligated to come back. But most of the times the soul actually decides, you know what, I want to come back as this kind of person. The soul chooses, ne? Because I understand that the soul has more wisdom than we physical people do. Wisdom that in the physical realm we are somewhat trying to get on a daily basis, ne? And in the spiritual realm, that wisdom is already there. So a soul decides whether it comes back, how it comes back, what kind of person it comes back as. It can decide, well, I'm gonna come back as a man or I'm gonna come back as a woman, because in the spiritual realm, sexuality doesn't really matter. Gender doesn't really matter. Those are just a few aspects that we just have as physical beings, but they don't really affect our spirits, our souls. What really affects our souls is the path that we choose, the path that we are supposed to take as spiritual people. Because understand that we're all spiritual beings, regardless of whether you have a gift or not. You are still a spiritual being, regardless. You are still a soul inside a vessel, trying to experience certain things in this vessel, waiting for your lifetime to end for you to move on, and then to the physical, to the spiritual realm. But Lona, I'm not gonna say, well, there isn't any life after this, there isn't any planets. That is something, Lore, I don't really have much knowledge of, but honestly speaking, as a fan of science myself, I'd say there are other lives there. There are other lives and there are other lifetimes, and there are different dimensions in our world. Like we have alternate dimensions in our lives, whereby you'd find where a single soul has multiple parts which live different lives and learn certain things in those lifetimes. Because like I said, the soul does not have the spiritual realm. There's no time in the spiritual realm. There is no time in the spiritual realm. You'd find where right now your soul is in this, my soul is here, it's me, it's Maclean, we all see her, but you'd find where this lifetime for my soul has already passed on, like it's already over and it started a new lifetime. And the reason why we are unable to see this is because we are confined by time, we are confined by growth, we are confined by all these things that are going on, the days, the nights, the growth, and all those things. But in the spiritual realm, that does not apply to us. Thokozani Nhleko, that does not apply to us. Ne? So time doesn't really matter. Dimensions, there are different dimensions whereby the souls actually habit. And you'd find out we're in this dimension right now, but there could be multiple universes that our souls are in. A single soul can be in multiple universes for the mere fact there is no time in the spiritual realm. Okay. And someone asked what happens to bad people when they pass away. I think I touched into it, but I really feel like I didn't really go into details with it that much. Ne? So a bad person, because I actually spoke about in one of my videos whereby I spoke about the consequences of using dark magic. And this doesn't really apply to dark magic alone. It also applies to when you do bad things as a person, when you are hurting people as a person. There are souls that are unable to cross over, that are unable to pass through because of the things that they did in their lifetime. There are souls that actually get into a state of not really a state, but a point in the spiritual realm whereby they are being, I won't say punished, because saying punish is like gonna take me to this whole concept of heaven and hell, and that is something that doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. It doesn't exist. But sort of like an exile, whereby that soul is not in contact with the other souls that the souls they're like in a contract with for a specific period of time. But do remember there is no time in the physical realm. So what could be like 2 days for us could be a lot longer for the souls, but they do not really recognize time. Okay. So they can be put into exile, or they can be brought back to live the life of the people, similar to the lives of the people which were victims to their deeds. Nay? And another thing that people need to understand is that our souls come with their own purposes. Someone else's soul's purpose is not your own. So when you see people succeeding in certain things, don't feel disheartened or feel some type of way, because at the end of the day, your soul has its own purpose. My soul decided, you know what, I'm gonna come back into this lifetime. I'm gonna come in this lifetime and I'm gonna be a healer. Other people's souls decided, I'm gonna experience life as something completely different, whereby there is no competition in terms of soul. There's only in terms of souls and also growth as a person. There's only you trying to learn, trying to better yourself, better your physical realm knowledge before you pass over into the other realm. Thokozani Paris, when you die, do you get to see and meet God, Jesus, the angels, and other Bible characters? No, not really. Like I said, okay, let me describe souls for you. A soul is a ball of energy. A spirit is a ball of energy. It does not have any physical features, any features where would say, oh my God, that is Jesus. He looks just like that. There isn't any of those things. Yes, there is a divine creator, which comes as a ball of energy. Remember that souls are energy. Okay, even if I die today and I get to like the spiritual realm, I will not recognize people by their physical features. I will not recognize the souls of the people that I know or I knew in this lifetime by their physical features. I will only recognize the energy that they portray, the energy that they come with. Through that energy, I will know in this specific lifetime, that was my dad. In that specific lifetime, that was my father. In that specific lifetime, that was my sister or my brother or a friend of mine. There are no physical features in terms of spirituality and souls. So when a person dies, you don't really see those things. You only recognize the souls that you have met, the souls that you've had a contract with or encountered due to the energy which they portray at the time. Okay, what happened when dead people visit you in your dreams, even when you are not related to them? Where must they visit you, even if we're not killed by us? Okay, here's the thing, ne? You could find out the person that you are seeing who has passed away could have a soul contract with you. Ne? You might have encountered that person as a friend, or maybe just somebody you've encountered, or maybe not encountered them, but in the spiritual realm, your souls know each other, they recognize each other, and those people can come in the form of people who are there to guide you. lead you, protect you, warn you about certain things that are going on, or it can come as a soul of someone who has not passed, who has not crossed over into the spiritual realm. What happens is that souls that are not able to cross over, they usually seek for help from people, spiritually gifted people, mediums, and all those things to come through and help them, guide them into atoning for whatever it is keeping them on this lifetime, so they can be able to progress, to move from this realm and into the spiritual realm, whereby they will be able to finish their journey, not really finish their journey because there is no end. The spiritual realm, there is no time, but decide whether they will come back or stay in the spiritual realm doing certain things, like maybe guiding people, protecting people. But there is always a different reason as to why you might see certain dead people in your dreams or visions. They might need help, they might be guiding you, or they might be trying to warn or protect you about protect you from something. DJ Have Togozani, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate that. Emo Kid Togozani Gogo. A question unrelated to the topic, but are dreams physical? Dreams are not really physical. Okay, here's the thing about dreams. When you dream, when you are asleep, you are somewhat in between the physical and the spiritual realm. Ne? And what happens is that in that space and time, you are given messages from that spiritual realm, and those messages come in the form of dreams. Ne? It's the same as spiritually gifted people, let's say prophets, people who prophesy or people who use their intuition. What happens is that they are getting messages from the spiritual realm. They are getting messages from the ancestors, the souls who have decided to stay in the spiritual realm to protect or guide or all those things. They're getting messages from those people, and those messages come in the form of dreams. So there is nothing physical about dreams. It's spiritual. Dreams are very spiritual. Hence, that is why many spiritually gifted people, they rely on their dreams a lot. Like I, for one, okay, it's fine. I use other things to connect with my ancestors, but I feel our dreams are very important, because even if it's something yellow, I feel like it's not important, I'm not going to check on it. They will come through and they will tell me a certain thing about that thing through the dreams. Okay, I hope you get what I mean there. Texani. And yeah, you'll get what they mean there. And okay, going back to our topic, what happens when you die? Like I said, all those things. And Lorna, it's very important for you to try and communicate with the spirits of people who have passed away. Because here's the thing, like I said, other people decide to stay in the other realm, but they will also need you to try and communicate with them in order for them to come through and relay or give you all those messages. Those are just guidance from them, depending on whatever soul journey you chose to take when you came into this lifetime. And their job is to ensure that you continue in that path that you are supposed to come. Whereas people would be like, but the ancestors are taking my job, the ancestors are doing this and that. That is, they are just doing that to help you finish, help you get to what you wanted to do when you came into this realm. Paris, I'd love to come back as a healer, a guitar, oh, a guide. Why am I saying a guitar? I love to come back as a healer, a guide, a prophet when I die. It's just sad that I might not remember my past life. Okay, here's the thing. When you are a spirit, a soul, after your passing, you remember all your past lifetimes. You remember all of them. None of them are new to you, because you go through, you enter different lifetimes for the sole purpose of learning a lot of things in terms of the physical realm, the physical plane, and also experiencing certain things in terms of the physical plane. You might actually come back as a healer, depending as to whether that is what your soul really desires. Because right now you are saying that you want to come back as a healer, a guide, a prophet, but the mere fact that you are still in the physical world. You do not know the different lifetimes that you have encountered in before, if you have ever reincarnated, because there are souls there are old souls. A lot of people are old souls, and others are new souls, souls that have recently been manifested, and those souls decided, oh, I want to come through. So you don't know what kind of soul that you are. You could find out you have been a healer before in a different lifetime. But what happens is that when you get to the physical, to the spiritual realm, you are cleared of a lot of things, cleared of certain judgment, cleared of certain desires, certain physical desires that we as humans have. Because truth be told, we suffer from humanly desires, and those are just the kind of things that drag us down. So when you get there, you might be on some, you know what, yes, in the physical plane, in the physical realm, I wanted to be a healer. But fine worry, in the spiritual realm, you feel okay, that is not something that I want to experience in my next lifetime. I might want to experience this in the near future, but right now I want to experience something different. I want to experience life as this kind of person instead. So it's gonna be like, it's gonna be up to your soul as to what it desires at that specific time, and what your soul feels like it could be best for it. Okay. I hope you understand what that means, Paris. And okay, fine. And when we get to the spiritual realm, there are different connections that we have. There are soul ties, different people that we encounter in terms of the souls which we make contracts with. Whereas you'll find out you meet a person, you meet a soul, you encounter a soul in the spiritual realm, and then you come into the physical realm, and that soul becomes one of the souls that you need to encounter in order to reach a certain level of growth, depending on the contract which you have signed before coming into this earth. Okay, things manifesting here in their physical world from the spiritual. Yes, in terms of manifesting things, manifesting, when you manifest something, you are somewhat communicating with the spiritual realm and saying, well, I want to get this in this physical realm. Whereas, like I said, the souls choose what is best for you and what's not best for you. You can manifest for something and not get it because your soul, particularly, and the souls of people that are guiding you, the souls of your guides, are not really there for it. They feel like that is not what you need in this realm to actually fulfill your life purpose. So, but like when you manifest something, you connect with the spiritual realm, you connect with the other souls that are there, you connect with your own spiritual self, your inner self, in actually getting that thing. So, it's very important to manifest certain things that you want. Ne? So, my question is, do we live spiritually first and we die first? Do we live spiritually first and we die first? Like I said, birth and death are just, they're a cycle. It is a cycle. When you are born, you are very spiritual. As a baby, you are very spiritual. Then you lose all those things and you get to regain them through life and the lessons that you get as when you're growing up. Because one thing I've noticed about myself is that when I was young, I was very spiritual. I was somewhat very connected with the spiritual realm, and over time those things stopped. Like I would have visions, I'd have dreams, I'd see certain things, I'd see certain people as a child because my third eye was open. But in terms of my growth, as I grew up, I lost those things because of certain things that are happening outside the world, certain factors that are affecting a person's growth when they grow up. Then when you get older, you get to regain that spirituality. You get to connect with the spiritual realm. You get to want to open your third eye. And from there onwards, that is where Molore, by the time you die, you are spiritual again. And when you decide to come back again, you start over as a spiritual person, getting to lose those things and regaining them to actually learn certain things or experience certain things in this realm. Mzansi vlog. Tokozani Gogo, my ears are always paining when I'm about to pray and I hear click sound. What does it mean? Okay, with your ears, ne? If you're a spiritually gifted person, then it's clearly abalozi, the ancestors that come through with whistles and pains in your ears. What happens with them is that once you're spiritually matured, they will come to you and they will whisper certain things to you, whereas you might be consulting a person, and as you are consulting a person, they will talk to you and give you guidance as to what is bothering this person, how you are going to help this person. Mohari, this is not part of the topic, but I wanted to know, is it possible for the ancestors to twasisa a person without going to a kobela? Okay, not part of the topic though. Yes, it's possible for a person to be assisted by their ancestors. It's very possible. It doesn't happen with a lot of people. I think someone asked a similar question last week, when I had the last live session. And what happens, like I said, there is that they can transition you in different ways. Initially, you can it could be that thing yauri when you go to sleep, they teach you. Because remember, what go twice is just learning, being taught spiritual things, regardless of going to a gobble or certain things. It's right now, if I go to sleep and I dream of a certain hap, ne? So that is what utwasisha mean. And Lorna, there are other processes that your ancestors might take you through, that you might need to go through when you are initiating in, and you might go through them in your dreams. They can do that. And Lorna, they can also do it by taking you in the water for a couple of months, initiating you there, teaching you all different kind of things, opening your third eye and all those kind of things. But like I said last time, that is only for a rare few individuals. Not everyone gets the pleasure of experiencing that. Most of us are actually obligated to go to gobelas and be taught those things, because not all ancestors, I won't say have the power, but not all ancestors desire to transition their own people. They choose, or you'll need to go to this specific person for certain reasons. Like I said in this topic, or the reasons of the spirits, the reasons of the souls are very different. And what we might feel or could be best for us, you might find or nah, it's better in a certain way. Ne? And another thing, I actually even forgot what I was about to say because I was reading the next comment. Um, Another thing about Rotwazane, the ancestors can still decide to take you to initiate Gogoveleng for the mere fact that maybe spiritually, if they decide to transition you, you might not take it seriously, or you might not be in that level. So that person who's supposed to initiate you is gonna help you move in the spiritual realm, transcend in the spiritual realm in different ways, whereby at the end of the day, you will fully be connected with your spirits. Tukzani Gogo, thanks. I'm 17, yeah. I'm still young and I'm 17. Okay, Mzanzi vlog, do not worry about it. Remember that the ancestors will come in their time, and in that time, they will open doors for you and help you in terms of your gift and what it is that they need you to do. Imo, Gogo, I feel like I could use this live for most of my spiritual concerns. Please bear with me. It's okay, because that is what the purpose of these live sessions are. Regardless of the fact that I come with a topic, obviously, I'm going to get to that topic initially in the beginning of the thingy, the video, and after that, that is where Lord, you guys will come with different questions, whether they relate to this topic or not. What matters is that we all have a mutual understanding as to what we are speaking about. Okay. So, okay, I spoke about a lot of things in terms of what happens when you die. I spoke about the soul, what happens to the soul, different things that happens to the soul, as in some souls cross over, some are stuck on this earth, and some decide to reincarnate. What is it that you guys feel like I did not touch up on the most, or what is it that you guys feel like you need more understanding with? Emo, my thoughts often think something and it happens later. Is that a vision? No, that is not a vision. A vision is seeing certain things. You could close your eyes for a few minutes or keep your eyes open and see something happening. That is a vision. When you think of something, that is your intuition speaking to you. Like I said, there are different ways whereby the ancestors speak to a person: through intuition, through visions, through the porno being dreams, but they also they go very close to into it, to like visions, through your ears whereby you hear certain things, and through divine bones whereby sangomas, which is what most sangomas use, and prophets do not use. So there are different ways in which the ancestors speak to you, but that is not a vision. That is your intuition. That is how your ancestors speak to you, through your intuition. Okay, you keep on dreaming speaking Sutu, but you are Zulu. Okay, what happens is that you might find that certain ancestors that you have were Sutu. You might have a certain ancestor who is Sutu. You might have lived a different lifetime speaking that very same language. Because what happens with different lifetimes being reincarnated is that you can, in a different lifetime, you could be Asian. You could speak Asian languages. And then when you come to this lifetime, you are taught a different language, but you experience certain things or are spoken to in that Asian language for the mere fact that it is similar. It's something that your soul actually knows. So it could be a matter of your ancestors, some of your ancestors having spoken that language, or you in your past life having spoken that language. Makgotso, Thokoza, is it true that our ancestors can leave you if you don't follow their instructions? Yes, they can leave you. What happens is that the ancestors, they they get impatient in a way. Like if they tell you to do certain things and you do not listen, bangala. Because remember that spiritual beings, especially ancestors per se, they have emotions. Yeah, they have emotions. They are able to feel certain things. And when you do something the way that they don't want you to, they will get upset and they will decide whether they stick around or they not or they don't. So you'd find out certain people, their ancestors are very furious with them. And when they are very furious with them, they decide to leave this person, which is kind of sad, but it does happen to a lot of people. Hence, that is why it is very important to appease the ancestors, do what they want you to do, visit the graveyards, just do all those things in order to make them happy so they don't leave you. Because remember that once the ancestors leave you, that is where Molor, you will lose certain things in your life. You will lose certain blessings in your life because they will leave with their blessings at the end of the day. Okay, Mzansi vlog, my ears are clicking now, Gogo, while I'm listening to your live. Yeah, meaning your ancestors love me. Because I'm sorry. Okay, is there any question based on the topic that we are having? What happens after you die? The things that I spoken about earlier, or maybe anything else that you guys want clarity on before I love and leave you? Tokozani, the awkward alchemist. Yeah, that's a nice name. Is it possible for you to be instructed by their ancestors to read people through tarot cards instead of bones? Yes, it's possible. I know a bunch of healers who actually use tarot cards. And here's the thing about tarot cards, Anne. They are somewhat similar to divine bones. But Lorna, there are people who can, because now I've tried tarot cards before and I'm just not there. Like I don't know. Like I understand them, but I find it very difficult to use them. So it comes as a form of a different calling for other people because you find your certain people are governed by ancestors which are foreign ancestors, ancestors from Western ancestors who were mediums or tarot card readers, and when they come and are evoked inside this person, they will then instruct this person to work in their ways. Whereas you'd find me as a Sangoma, I could have my own divine bones, but find mine are different because of my ancestors chose those ones. You know, those kind of things. And it's also the same as different prophets prophesying in different ways because that is how their ancestors decided to make them work. Ne? Paris. I used to have visions like I'd get a sign, I'd get to sing, pray, then just talk things, and that would happen the following day, but that doesn't happen anymore. Okay, Paris, it's what I was talking about earlier, whereas I'm saying, when you are young, you are still in connection with, not that when you're older, you're not in connection with your soul, but just your third eye is open, which is a cycle of life. And as you grow older, you lose those things. And as you're getting older, your life purpose would be, yes, you might have other obligations as a person, but your soul would want you to reconnect with it in order to get those messages, those intuitive messages that they gave you from the beginning before you pass away. And once you die, you will have taken all those things, and you might be in a point whereby you're just seeing people live their life, and when you know what, okay, I've played my part, I have done what I came here for, and now it's time for me to go back to the spiritual realm, take my knowledge, evaluate it with my wiser spiritual self, and decide what it is that I do from there onwards, whether I come back or I stay there, you know. Laborangi, Thokozani Laborangi. Isn't intuition the same bracket as being shown something, Gogo? Yes, it is being shown something, but remember, Wore, intuition is not visions. Like I said, there are different ways in which people are shown different things. Whereas when we look at the visions, we're talking about the born, what you see with your third eye, in a way, not what you see with your soul, which okay connects with the third eye, but they're different. It's a different way of divining for other people. It's a different way of divining. Because right now I can be sitting here and my intuition might tell me something's gonna creep out of my bed, like from the bottom of my bed, from under my bed, and it does for real. But truth of the matter is I did not see it. My third eye wasn't seeing it. Instead, my intuition was telling me about it. So it's a way of seeing, but it's not visions. Visions is actually images that will be shown to you by the spiritual, by the souls, the spirits, the ancestors. Okay, Google, I now understand, but what if I wanna appease them, but my parents are against me appeasing them? You need to make decisions for yourself in life. You will need to choose what it is that you want to do. Because most people, when you're going to initiate, especially this time and age, not a lot of people will support you. A lot of people are not for the whole African spirituality thing. And we're okay with that, but the journey is yours, the gift is yours. Whether you want to appease your ancestors or not, it's gonna be up to you, regardless of who supports you and who don't. Because regardless of the support that you will get or not get, you will still go through the same things. You will still go through this calling, you will still experience the heartache of it, and you will still learn certain things from it. And at the end of the day, you will need to do certain things with the certain gift that you have. Not other people will be doing, no other person will be doing those things for you. Please don't leave, Gogo. I usually see white circle entities at night by my house like a shadow. Okay, like remember when I talked about what happens when people die? I talked about the spirits, ne? I talked about the spirit, like the soul being like an orb, like a white ball of energy. So I actually saw this a few times myself, whereby I would be praying or I'd be trying to connect with my ancestors at night, and I would see an orb like pass by. Those are spirits. Those that is how the ancestors are right now, because they do not really maintain their physical being. They only decided, okay, I'm gonna visit this person in their dream today. So I'm gonna come looking the way I was when I was young, just to guide them as to who I am and make them understand what it is that I want. But that is how the spirit, the soul actually looks in the spiritual realm. No, Mukwena Tokozani Gogo, I dreamt of my Dlozi dancing and being so happy. Could it be soon? I might be on my way to Transform. Yes, there could be a possibility that you will need to go initiate very soon. That's usually one of the signs that. But Lona, even if it's not really the fact that you'll need to go to Twasa very soon, is them showing you that they are happy and they are content with what it is that you are doing to connect with them and all those things. Like Lori, like it's so hitry, it's so hitry, yeah, so yeah, there's a possibility, but it's something that you will need to go and confirm, because remember that dreams are complicated, where Lore, certain dreams need deeper interpretations, whereby in those interpretations people will need to connect with your ancestors to get the right like definition interpretation. But it is a possibility o ka ba wa tsamaya wa e tshwasa very soon, or if not, then they are just showing you that they are happy with whatever it is that you are doing. What's your zodiac sign, Gaga? I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. What's yours, Flubit? Okay, Lebohani Tokoza Gogo. My niece speaks more English than our native language, Yakarai. I fear she may not be able to communicate with me, our mother tongue, once I've passed on. Okay, in the spiritual realm, when somebody passes away, there is no gender, there is no race, there is no language, there is like, okay, they speak, but all those things, the things of the spiritual realm do not apply. Because I speak English 80% of the time, né? And I would actually pray in English now and then. And I still get the same results as I get when I speak in Spedi. My ancestors can come to me and speak in a completely different language that I know. That has happened so many times. Like I've even lost count of how many times that happened. Languages that aren't even Zulu or Xhosa or the native African South African languages that are understanding. Okay, this is a language from outside South Africa, but in those specific moments, I would know what they are saying and I would reply to them in my own native language. And when I wake up, I would know, okay, he said this and that, which actually means this and this and that. So those things do not apply in the spiritual realm. Language does not apply in the spiritual realm. If she speaks English, you can still communicate with her and she can still communicate with you regardless. Tokoza Gogo, I've seen a video seen on TV, a scene that I think it showed the revelation of a part of my life I had. That is interesting. Is that possible? The emotions that came with it were so overwhelming. Okay, I won't really say that is not possible. I won't say that is possible, but Lorna, remember that there are certain things that we connect with, and there are certain reasons why we see certain things on the television, hear things on the radio, see things happening with our naked eye. There are reasons to it. That could have been your ancestors trying to give you a message, trying to warn you about something, or trying to rekindle a certain memory from your past life, or trying to show you something that is ahead of you. So in terms of spirituality, you cannot dispute anything and say, oh, nah, that is just me overreacting, all those things. That is not how it works. So it could be of significance to you for a lot of reasons. Mokari, thanks, Gogo. I lost a child before the ones I have, and the first child that came after that one looked exactly like the one I lost. Is it like the same child? Okay, like I spoke about reincarnation. Né? So it is possible for the child that you lost to be reincarnated again as your child again, or it could very well be genetics whereby it's your genes and the father's genes. Because if you look at me and my siblings, me and my sister, we look alike. We talk the same. We laugh the same. We're practically almost the same person. Whereas people might encounter me and talk to me and then encounter her later and assume it's me. That happens as well. So it could be that very same child, or it could be a different child altogether. Né? But what you need to do is understand the path that your first child decided to take after their passing, whether they decided to come back or they decided to stay in the spiritual realm as souls. Because Lorna, remember what a lifetime, when a person is born, a lifetime could be 10 years for one soul and 60 years for another. Ne? It could be like 3 years for one soul and 6 years for another for different reasons. Ne? It could be a reason that soul, that specific soul decided, okay, I'm going into this lifetime for this reason. And once I'm done with it, I'm going back to where it is I came from. I'm going back to the spiritual realm. So that is also a possibility at the end of the day. Takozani Lydia, thanks for joining us. The awkward child, the awkward alchemist. I have an understanding that I have lived as many people in many different bodies for the purpose of the soul learning various lessons. At what point does the soul decide not to reincarnate? Like I said in the beginning, that the soul, there is no time, and souls continue to live on forever. Né? So your soul might very well decide to come back again over and over again until it pleases, until it has acquired a certain amount of knowledge that it came here for, until it has experienced certain things that makes it want to come back. Because a soul can reincarnate like 100 times, and another soul can reincarnate for like 2 times, and then be like, "Ah, I'm good with this humanly experience. I think I'm gonna chill in the spiritual realm and do what spirits do." So it's a matter of your soul as to how many times it wants to come back and how many times it wants to stay in the spiritual realm. Okay, and does the soul become a higher dimensional being at the point when it decides to not incarnate? The soul on its own is a higher dimensional being, whether it chooses to reincarnate or not. It is a higher dimensional being. Because remember that once you die, you acquire certain knowledge that that soul had already had from the beginning. You get to know about the beginning of time. You get to know about the original souls. You get to know about the higher being. You get to know all those things, and that is a knowledge that you lose when you come into this world, into this earth, for the mere fact that you are here to experience those kind of things. You are here to experience life as a being that is still learning. So a soul on its own is a higher being, whether it decides to incarnate or not. Because even right now, when we are humans and we possess a soul within us, the soul that is within us is still a higher being. It's an extremely high being actually, but the difference is there are certain knowledge that the soul does not reveal to us because it still wants to experience certain things from what we as physical beings have. Because the best thing about this physical realm is that when you don't know certain things, you actually have the opportunity to choose certain paths, choose to have certain experiences, choose to encounter this type of situations and find a way to go about them. Okay. My dad had twins, a boy and a girl, and one died. She got hit by a car in 2005. I dream of them all the time, but the deceased twin always disappeared in all the dream. What does it mean? The deceased twin actually disappears because she's no longer in the physical realm. But then again, she does show what she is walking amongst her sibling and her father and you guys. That the dream is just her showing that she is around, but then again, you will not see her because she is a spirit, she's a soul, and she's not in this realm. So it could be that thing, or maybe a soul she's a soul which comes and visits now and then, because it does happen now and then that souls can become very attached to the people that it lived with. And also there is this duality in souls whereby a soul can be two things. Né? There's so much duality in the spiritual realm that is crazy. And usually with twins, you'd find it's one soul that decided to split into two. And when it decided to split into two, it gets to live the lives of these two people. So when one passes away, the part of that soul will still be with that person for the mere fact that they are still in the physical realm. And once the other one passes away, that is where the souls will ascend together to the spiritual realm. Paris, thank you very much, Gogo. I got to understand a lot today. It was my first time, and I hope I won't miss the next live podcast. Now, I'll definitely keep updating you guys when I go live again. I think I'm gonna do it like once or twice a week, but before that, I will definitely let you guys know. I hear you, Gogo, but isn't there a certain level of identity and spirituality that comes with the native language? There is a certain identity, but that identity does not always apply to the spirits. That is why I spoke about when after death, like whereas I'm me, like you see me, I'm a purebred African woman. I pass away and my soul in the spiritual realm is not confined by any of those things. My soul decided, okay, I'm not going to be an ancestor. Hence, I won't be lingering in this earth, guiding certain people that are still living here. Ne? But what happens is that it decides, okay, I'm not going to be this. I'm going to transcend back into the spiritual realm where I actually belong. And when you get there, you are detached from all those things: culture, spirit, tradition, ideologies. Those things do not really matter to you. They mean nothing to you. Ne? So, in a way, you are not really obligated to keep certain natives, because when you decide to get reincarnated, you can be reincarnated as someone from a whole different culture with a whole different belief altogether. That's just how it is. Those things do not comply with spirits. Ne? And Lorna, if you choose to be an ancestor, I understand it. Okay, sharp. Obviously, when I'm an ancestor, I will most likely speak in Soto, Spedi, ne? But Lorna, languages, there is no language barrier in the spiritual realm. That is why I said, well, I can pray in English, which I don't do often, but I can do that and still get the same results for my ancestors as I would get when I pray in my home language, my native language. And the same way, my ancestors can come to me and speak to me in a whole different language, a language which they used in their time. Ne? And they will come to me speaking in that language, and for some reason I will be able to understand everything, because in that moment, in that dream, in that vision, I have connected with the physical realm. I am in between the physical and the spiritual realm. And in that point that I am right at that time, there is no language barrier between me and my ancestors. There isn't any barrier that will keep me from understanding them. Mohadi Tokozani. Okay, Sikokele. Tokozani Gogo. When I pass away, will I still be connected to my flesh in the grave? Growing up, I always noticed that some ancestors will complain of coldness. Okay, so when a person passes away, ne, what happens with the soul is that, like I said, different souls choose what they want. They choose what path they take, whether they will be ancestors. And the thing about being ancestors, choosing to be a guardian for the ones that are still living. I'm not going to refer them as ancestors right now. I'm going to refer to them as guardians. When they choose to be guardians, they are connected with the flesh that they lived in, but not really the flesh. They are connected to the bloodline. Ne? Whereas, yes, you will need to go to the grave and visit them and communicate with them, and by doing so, you are sort of like acknowledging their memory, the life that they have lived, and the life they chose to live for a certain generation, for this certain generation that is here with us. And when I remember, like I talked about different souls that are unable to cross over. I didn't go into details the way I should. There are people who have gifts such as myself, but choose not to appease their ancestors. And when they pass away, they're unable to cross over and they remain as ancestors. They are connected with the bloodline, they're connected with the flesh, and but not really connected with the flesh. Like honestly, the flesh doesn't really, you know, but they are connected with the bloodline and they're connected with who they were before their passing. And yes, they will need you to visit them. They will need you to do certain things for them in order for them to cross over into the other lifetime. It's similar to when a person leaves and in their lifetime they do a lot of bad things, and when they die, they're unable to cross over. They will need someone who is capable of connecting with the spiritual realm to a certain extent to help them like atone for what they did wrong, do certain things right, and then from there onwards cross over into the realm whereby the spirits live, and those spirits have no, I won't really say have no connection, but are not obligated to keep contact with the things of the of the physical realm. Takoza Gogo, today I'm late. Takoza Amza, I was surprised not seeing you here, but thank welcome. You'll see the rest of the video when I am done with the live sessions. I actually explain most about when a person dies in the beginning of the video. Right now, I'm just touching up here and there on certain questions that people are asking. Okay, Mzansi vlog. Gogo, I dreamt of my granny's house, which was like it was from the olden days. But then something was chasing me and I flew to this high building. Then my grandma woke me up spiritual and I woke up at 3. Okay, Mzansi vlog, I'd advise you to go and consult. Go and check what is going on in your life, whether there are certain entities that are after you, whether there are people that are after you, whether there's something that is trying to harm you. Because, like I said earlier, certain dream interpretations require a certain level of connection with the ancestors. Ne? And I'm not gonna sit here and interpret it in a way, yellow, I feel like suits me, because you are actually looking for help. And the fact that there were people chasing you, it shows you there could be something after you, there could be someone after you, or there is something that you are missing, and it has a lot to do with your grandmother. So go out and look, check what is going on in your life in order to know what is exactly going on and what is the significance of that dream. Okay. Mtabi Sitlomo. I always dream of schoolmates who passed away. We were not even close, but Oh, I always dream of a schoolmate who passed away. We're not even close, but she's always calling me to her home and I refuse to go. Okay, Tabis, ne? Here's the thing, ne? This schoolmate who passed away, like I said earlier, when you dream of people who passed away, even if you are not in connection with them, they might come to you for guidance, trying to guide you, trying to protect you, trying to give you a certain message because your souls are somewhat connected. Remember, there is a soul contract, which is actually one of the deepest things ever, which actually causes certain souls to encounter. Because now, when I meet a person, I'm not just meeting the physical flesh, I'm meeting their soul. I'm encountering their soul. And in that instance, I would know whether I've encountered this soul before or it's my first encounter with this soul. So it's very interesting, ne? But I remember what there are other men manufactured spiritual things that happen. And the fact that, like, it's something you'll need to go and check as well in order to know what is her reason for coming through. Is she here to protect you, to guide you? Does she want you to help her in order to move into the other realm? Or is there something malicious about it? Because remember, there are people who take souls. There are people who take souls and use them, and those things happen, especially a lot in this um African world, in this African spiritual world. And it's one of those things that you need to understand in order to understand the dream, whether this soul comes with good things, bearing good things or not. So, I'm glad or I could actually help and you could learn a few things from me. Perisoko, can you shed some light about hell and the torment on the souls or spirit that did wrongs? Okay, let me talk about that. Like I said, in African spirituality, there not really in African spirituality, but in spirituality in general, there has never been a hell. Ne? So what happens when a soul does bad things is that firstly they're unable to get through to the other life, to the other realm. That's the first thingy, punishment. Secondly, when they get into the spiritual realm, they get in a time of exile. That is where Mulur, that soul, is not given the obligation to encounter certain souls or be met up with certain souls that they are connected with. Because remember, there are certain souls that are connected with each other, soul contracts. They're unable to connect with those souls and they are taken into a different space in the spiritual realm whereby they are going to look at certain things that they did in their life. And once they have evaluated certain deeds that they have done in the physical realm, that is where that soul is returned back into this lifetime. Usually the soul decides to come back because it's a matter of what the soul decides, but usually those kind of souls come back and they get to sort of like relive or get into a life whereby they experience the torment that they have placed on others. They get to be in the same shoes that the victims were when they were alive and they were doing bad things to others. That is how you are punished. That is why there's this saying, there's hell is on earth, hell on earth, stuff like that. It actually applies mostly to spirits, which were souls which did their own things when they were alive in a certain lifetime, tormented people. It could have been a racist person, could have been a racist man in one lifetime, and after having lived that lifetime, when they transcend into the spiritual realm, they get time to a time of solitude whereby they look at everything that they did and they get reincarnated as a black person. Which are gonna be the worst punishment for those kind of souls, but that is just how punishment is made in the spiritual realm. That is how spirits are punished. There is no place whereby you are there to burn for eternity. In African spirituality, I've never heard of that place. Unless if you guys have, please enlighten me if you have, but I've never heard of it. Sikokele. So, Gogo, when one commits suicide, will they be accepted by their ancestors in their past life, in their afterlife, or will they still wander around as a lost soul until the time that they were meant to die comes? Okay, I spoke about this earlier, but I'm gonna touch up on it again. Okay, so it could be that thing out when you come to this lifetime, you are expected, or your soul, like your soul contract was to be on this earth for like 100 years, and you decide already, yeah, this life is awful, I'm gonna go kill myself. What happens is that your soul will not cross over. It will not. Your soul will continue to linger, and it won't really linger for a duration of time. It will linger until it gets a certain type of healing. It gets a certain type of cleansing. Remember, like we have those spirits, Wumdig and all those things, whereby they're not really connected with the suicide, but those are spirits who usually they're spirits who passed away through a very traumatic experience, or even if it wasn't a very traumatic experience, but passed away before it was their time. And a certain healing is required from someone who is alive at a specific time. And when this certain healing is performed, this certain cleansing is performed, what happens is that this soul will then later be able to cross over. So when a person commits suicide, they will not cross over. They will linger around as a lost soul until they get a certain healing. It could be a healing from a medium, a sangoma, a certain ritual that is performed for that soul to actually cross over. That is why you find out certain times you'd find out a woman's child, okay, a woman, let's say, performs abortion, ne, on a child who was supposedly for like a long time, and you'd find out in their life, probably a lot of hardship, a lot of bad things happen to them, for the mere fact that the soul of that child is still lingering around them, and that soul, remember that that soul has been um neglected, not really neglected, but why you know, it was unable to live the life that it lived for certain reasons. And that is where molor a certain cleansing is needed so the soul can be able to cross over and that child will not live their life lost. So it's very similar to when someone commits suicide. I'm extremely thirsty tonight. Linky Tukosa Gogo. I'm new on this platform and I'm really impressed with your work. I'm also Sangoma. Takozani Gogo. Thank you very much and welcome to my platform. I hope it is as informative as I hope, like as I wish it is to you. Amzo. Gogo, last time I dreamt of my sister trying to kill me. That dream got me. I was like, what does that mean? Okay. That is a very hectic dream, ne? When you have a dream of your sister trying to kill you, ish, I don't know how to put this. It could be that thing, or maybe there is something that she is doing to you, or there is a certain muti that is used. Because I remember once I encountered someone, Olore, they were using muti on this family whereby what they wanted was to have their father kill them. So it was a very traumatic experience, even for me looking on the sidelines. But what happens is that there are certain motives for all those things, and those things are actually really bad. So I'd advise you go out and you check, you consult on it, see why it is that you are told by healers who have connected with your ancestors in order to find out what is the main reason for this dream. Maybe your sister might get herself in a situation which will get her in harm, or even if it's not your sister, they could be telling you what you should be careful. Maybe something might happen. Maybe you get in a point whereby a life-threatening situation with people that you know, even if it's not your sister, it could be someone outside, someone else that you've only encountered a few times. It can happen that they can use your sister to try and get your attention on something they're trying to protect you from. So look into it as soon as you can. It's very important. Sibusiso, what is the meaning of seeing giant beings? Why would our souls show us everything as giant, including mountains? Okay, here's the thing about the spirits and the souls. Spirits and souls show things however it is they wish to. Because I remember in most occasions, I would see a giant snake, an abnormally giant snake, which I think myself, well, this isn't right. Or a giant bird and all those things. That is them trying to like drag your attention into something that you didn't look into that much. Or it could just be them trying to show you certain, like, here's the thing about the spirits, ne? They can drastically do certain things for their own, not really for their own amusement, but for them to show you and emphasize mostly on certain things. If they show you a giant mountain, then it's an emphasis that you need to visit a certain mountain for this and this and that. If you see a giant snake, it's an emphasis that you have these certain ancestors and they are looking for your attention. Or even if they're not looking for your attention, it will be then again be interpreted better by how those animals will be acting around you. But if they're mad, they want you to do something quickly. If they're not mad, they are just showing how they are pleased with you. But it is very normal to see giant things in your dreams. Don't panic. There's a message behind everything. Michelle Chata Gozani Gogo. My auntie recently passed away, and I have dreamt of her and her daughter talking to me 3 nights in a row. And one night I would wake up and come back to bed and continue the convo. Okay, that is where Molur, like I said, certain spirits that pass away, even if they're not ancestors, they might want to give you certain information, certain guidance, certain protection, certain warnings. So that conversation that you're having with them, pay attention to it. Pay attention to it, because remember, Lorna, the ancestors, the spirits can also choose to send a certain soul that you know to come through and guide you and give you information on certain things that you have to do or have to know about. So take note of the conversation that you are having. Okay, take note of this conversation. And if you wanna, like, maybe you remember the conversation but you can't make sense of it, go and consult, get a dream interpretation, which will actually break down the conversation for you to know what exactly they are trying to tell you to do in that particular time. Okay, kinalemang, tukuzani kinalemang, tukoza gogo. Does it mean you no longer dream of certain people? They crossed over to the next level, to the other last level. Okay, here's the thing, ne? There are people who they pass away and they decide to cross over and you completely don't dream about them. It happens, ne? But the thing about the spiritual realm and the ancestors is that they can very well use those people spirits to talk to you. So even if a person has crossed over, you can still come and see them, because like I said, there are different dualities in spirits. There are different levels in spirits, whereby even if a soul can be reincarnated, a certain part of it will still remain the spiritual realm, and that part of it will be the one that will be used to communicate with certain people that it knows, certain people that it had encountered. But that usually occurs if the people that it knows are still alive and they're still in need of their guidance, and certain ancestors that are working amongst these people feel, well, this person will respond best once they see this kind of person. Because it's, for example, maybe a parent passes away, maybe a mother passed away, and you and your mother were very close, and your mother passed away and she reincarnates. Part of her soul will still remain behind in order to come through and guide you on certain things, in order to help you in the path that you will take, regardless of whether she's your ancestor or not. Not really your ancestor, she is your ancestor. Regardless of whether she is your guardian spirit or not. Because remember, what the spirits that govern us are spirits of people who've passed away long before we were born. No, it's not people who already they were there maybe 3 years before I was before, like maybe I was there for 3 years before they pass away. It doesn't work like that. But those people can still be used to relay certain messages. So you will see them at some point. Lastly, Gogo. So in knowing all of this wisdom now, doesn't it come with a little bit of depression and isolation? I mean, considering that this ignorant society we live in this day and age. Okay, I'm gonna respond to this personally, like talking about myself. I don't really suffer from depression. I used to before I actually understood what was going on. But what comes with this knowledge is the understanding that everyone gets to choose what it is that they want to choose. Everyone can be ignorant because of there are certain things that they do not understand. And luckily, you understand these things, and you understand that it is not your job to force people to believe in what you believe in. Yes, certain knowledge is given to you because that is what your soul required. Ne? And regardless of how people will respond to you knowing this certain, sorry, because that is completely out of the question. You are spiritually matured. When you are spiritually grown, you will know that certain emotions and how people perceive things in your life does not in turn reflect onto you. It is their choice, it is their life. And when your main goal is focusing on what you are here for. It's like earlier when I talked about your life purpose, understanding your life purpose. And I mentioned this thing, people compete. People would compete with other people on certain things that those people's souls are here for. And when your soul purpose is completely different. And by doing so, you are merely dragging yourself back. So with this certain level of knowledge, you just need to understand, or not everyone will be for it, but there are people who are going to understand it, and your job is to take it out when it's needed, share it with people when it's needed. But other than that, if people are ignorant, that is not your baby to pamper or care for. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is what it is. What could dreaming naked mean? Okay, usually when you dream of being naked, or you dream of someone being okay, when you're dreaming of someone being naked, what happens is that person usually that person is someone who already performs witchcraft, or if they don't perform witchcraft, there's someone who's trying to use them for those kind of things. Ne? And for example, if you dream of yourself being naked, that means there's someone who's trying to use you. Because remember, there are certain instances whereby your soul is being used, ne? And whereas your soul is being used, like with you, when you're sleeping, you think, oh, you're sleeping, but you find out that there are people that are taking your soul because of the certain amount of power that you have. And in a way to actually make you aware of this, you might have a dream whereby you're naked, and that is a mere warning, ne? But that is the first interpretation. The second one is whereby you're working in darkness, you're just in a lot of darkness, there is no direction in your life, and all those things. It comes as a form of a warning. It's not really a good thing to dream of yourself naked, or dream of anyone naked per se. Gogo, what does it mean when you dream rushing to school and the car crashes and me and my sister elevate to this mountain where there are people waiting for us and my sister got hurt but I was okay? Okay, school is profit, it talks about prophetic gift. And when you are rushing to school in a car, that means there's a certain journey that you need to take regarding to your prophetic gift. And once you elevate into to a mountain, remember that like prophecy and mountains, those are all spiritual gifts, are very much connected with mountains and rivers, whereby those mountains are platforms, places whereby you go to in order to connect with your ancestors. Okay. So it's them showing you what you need to do and how you need to do it. And also when you have when in that dream you are okay but your sister is hurt, try to get them to check what is going on with your sister. You might find that something might happen to her, or she might have a gift that she's neglecting. There must be something that her ancestors are showing her that she's neglecting and she needs to pay attention to it before she gets hurt or something bad happens to her because of her neglect to ancestral things. Whew. Yeah, I've talked a lot tonight. Anyways, guys, that is it. I've pretty much spoken about what happens when you pass away, and I got to touch up on some of you guys' personal questions. I hope this was very informative. I hope you guys learned a lot from this live stream, and yeah, I'll see you guys again next time. We'll tell you guys when I'm gonna be live again, somewhere next week, and I'll tell you guys what kind of topic I'll be coming with next week. And I will also be uploading a normal video on this channel as well. So I'll be trying to see when I'm gonna upload a video and when I'm gonna go live again. But I'll let you guys know as soon as I schedule my things. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this live session. I hope you guys learned a lot. I really enjoyed being with you guys, and yeah. Togozani, Lisedi, Badimba Velilena, and I hope you guys a prosperous journey. Bye.